Hello my friends. Today we will continue to several farms in the United States to see how the process of harvesting thousands of tons of vegetables and fruits happens here. In addition, in this video we will also see how Americans deal with millions of wild birds that are considered pests that cause serious damage to many agricultural crops. In the first part of the video, we will go to a honeybee farm in Yakima County, South Central Washington State, to see how the workers here harvest thousands of pounds of honey. In preparation for the honey harvesting process, the workers here will remove the honeycomb frames from the hive, and they will use smoke to remove the bees clinging to these frames. According to USDA statistics, in 2022, there are about 121,000 honey beekeepers in the United States. Of these, about 37,000 people are professional beekeepers. Currently, there are about 2.7 million bee colonies in the country, and California is the state with the largest number of bee colonies in the country, with about 253,000 colonies. However, the states that produce the most honey in recent years in the United States are North and South Dakota. California only ranks third on this list. After the honeybees have been driven out, thousands of honey frames are sent to the factory for honey production. At the same time, new frames will be placed in the hive to continue the honey mining process. At this factory, workers will use a scraper knife to cut the beeswax covering the outside of the honey frame. And now the sweetest part is revealed. According to a report by the American Honey Producers Association, in 2022, honey production across the country is 127 million pounds, down 14% from 2021. On average, each colony yields about 46 pounds of honey per year. After the beeswax is cleaned, these frames will be placed into the honey extricator, and the machine will be rotated until all the honey stuck to the frame is cleaned off. Finally, the honey is filtered and stored in hundreds of barrels, each weighing 620 pounds. Each year, the honey industry in the United States brings in sales of $315 to $330 million. We are currently in the southwest of the San Joaquin Valley, California, to see how millions of pomegranates are harvested. At the end of October, heavy rains caused severe damage to dozens of pomegranate farms here. Thousands of pomegranates have been cracked, causing their quality to be greatly reduced. These pomegranates will be picked and sold to juice factories instead of being shipped to supermarkets or farmers markets. According to USDA statistics, by 2022, in the United States, there are 1,056 active pomegranate farms, with an arable land area of around 33,000 acres. Of that, up to 91% of pomegranate production in the United States is produced in California. During the annual pomegranate harvest season, about 2,100 workers flock to farms to pick this fruit, and their average salary in 2022 is $9 per hour. This is the mid-break meal of the pomegranate harvesters, and it is provided free of charge by the farm owners. The next place we will visit is the garlic fields in Kern County, Southern California. Unlike other garlic growing regions, most garlic in California is harvested manually by workers from Mexico. The beginning of June every year is the time when thousands of workers flock to these garlic fields in California to work, and this work will last for about 3 to 4 weeks. These workers will cut off the roots and stems of the garlic plant, and the garlic will be placed in plastic buckets. After that, these plastic buckets are filled with garlic, and these workers will dump them into larger wooden crates. After each of these, the workers will be marked on their scorecard. The salary that the garlic harvest workers here receive is around $9 to $13 per hour. In California, in 2021, has about 24,700 acres of farmland used to grow garlic, and the yield is about 347 million pounds, accounting for 91% of the country's production. At peak times, the garlic harvest will be done after dark to keep up with the schedule. Next, we will go to a citrus farm in Polk County, located in the heart of Florida, to see how the process of harvesting millions of citrus fruits happens. In recent years, Florida has always been the state with the largest citrus growing area in the United States, with around 621,000 acres used, accounting for 73% of the citrus growing area of the country. The beginning of October to June every year is the time when citrus harvesting in Florida is at its busiest. The citrus industry in the state is estimated to provide 76,000 jobs and generate an impact of nearly $9 billion annually. According to a USDA report, in 2022, Florida alone produces up to 34 billion pounds of citrus fruit. This contributes to making the United States the second largest citrus fruit producer in the world, second only to Brazil. In the next part of the video, we will travel to North Dakota to see how the hunters here hunt thousands of snow geese. During their migration, snow geese often stop at wetlands, estuaries, grain fields, or any other places where they can find food. The appearance of rows and rows of snow geese in certain areas can cause the vegetation and natural landscape in that area to be severely affected because their droppings are abundant. In preparation for hunting hundreds of snow geese, early in the morning, these hunters place hundreds of fake snow geese in the field as bait. When detecting a flock of snow geese passing by, all these hunters will use whistles combined with the movement of fake geese to lure the geese to fly close to the ground. When hundreds of snow geese are close enough to the ground, the hunters will open fire all at once, and each time they can catch 20 to 30 snow geese. About 540,000 snow geese are hunted each year in the United States and Canada. Because snow geese nest and breed in remote areas, hunting snow geese does not affect their numbers. This is a flooded forest in the state of Wisconsin. Here, the hunters are preparing the necessary items to prepare to hunt wood ducks. Basically, the process of preparing to hunt wood ducks is similar to the preparation process for hunting snow geese or Canadian geese. When detecting wood ducks, hunters will use fake sounds to lure them to fly low, and when the distance is right, they will open fire to take down this wild bird. It is estimated that there are 4.5 million wood ducks living in the United States, and about 1.2 million are shot by hunters across the country each year. Hello my friends. Iowa is a Midwestern state in the United States with an area of about 35.8 million acres. Of that, up to 31.3 million acres of land in the state is used for agricultural production. For many years now, Iowa has always been one of the states with the highest agricultural revenue in the country, second only to California. In 2021, the state's total agricultural sales is $26.4 billion, less than half that of California. According to USDA statistics, as of mid-2022, there are about 85,000 active farms in Iowa, and the average size of a farm in this state is about 345 acres. Currently, operations on farms in Iowa are mainly corn, soybean, oat, raising pigs, cattle, and dairy production. In addition, agriculture in Iowa is also known for its large apple and cherry farms. Every year, tens of thousands of ranchers in Iowa provide full-time and part-time employment to approximately 801,000 workers, and the state's agricultural workforce accounts for about 4.5% of the population. We're currently on a pig farm in Washington County, southwest Iowa. It is home to 115 sows, and each year about 2,000 piglets are born on this farm. At this farm, hundreds of piglets will be exclusively breastfed for a month before they are fed other foods. In recent years, Iowa has always been the state with the largest number of pigs in the country, with about 24 million pigs. They are distributed on 5,418 farms. Second on this list is Minnesota, with about 8.7 million pigs. When the piglets reach 5 weeks of age, they will be fed the same feed as the sow, and this will be maintained for about a month before they are separated for fattening. These are hundreds of 3-month-old pigs on a farm in Hamilton County, eastern Iowa. All these pigs have just been separated from the mother pig and will begin to enter the fattening stage. Currently, most pig farms in Iowa have a big population, ranging from 300 to 5,000 heads. Large-scale pig farms with a population of more than 5,000 make up only about 20% of the state's pig farms. At Iowa hog farms, pigs are considered eligible for harvest once they reach 6 to 7 months of age and weigh between 150 and 190 pounds. This is what happens when hundreds of pigs on this farm are eligible for the meat harvest. All of them will be transported by truck to the pork factory, and this will be the last trip for these pigs. According to statistics, in 2021, in the United States, there are about 2,780 pork production facilities in operation, and each hour, 1,106 pigs are slaughtered across the country. Every year, the number of pigs slaughtered across the country is between 127 and 130 million heads. In addition to modern pig farms, there are also dozens of free-range pig farms in Iowa. However, these are usually small-scale pig farms, and the number of pigs only fluctuates in the range of a few dozen. Goodbye pig farms. We will now go to cattle farms in Iowa to see how the process of raising millions of cattle happens. Unlike the cattle herds in Texas or Nebraska, most cattle in Iowa are raised on factory farms and rarely graze on large pastures. In recent years, most cattle in Iowa have been purchased from cattle ranchers in other states. Hundreds of these calves are preparing to be shipped to cattle ranchers in Iowa. According to USDA statistics, as of June 2022, there are about 19,000 active cattle ranchers in Iowa, and the number of cattle in the state is about 3.85 million heads. This is a cattle ranch in Ringgold County, southern Iowa, and all of the cattle here are raised for the purpose of harvesting meat. Every day, the workers on this farm will provide food and water for the cattle instead of herding them to the vast grasslands. Basically, the meat quality of cattle raised in barns will not be as high as that of cattle grazing on pasture. According to statistics, in 2021, the cattle industry in Iowa usually brings in about 17,000 jobs, and the value that cattle brings to this state is about $4.1 billion. This is a cattle ranch in Sioux County, south of Iowa. Here, hundreds of cattle spend most of their lives living in barns or concentrated enclosures. They are only herded out into the pasture about twice a week, and this period does not last more than 3 hours. This is what happens when the cows are eligible for meat. They are shipped to slaughterhouses and end up here. In 2021, approximately 895,000 beef cattle were slaughtered in Iowa, and the state's beef production is approximately 667 million pounds, ranking 12th in the nation for beef production. Next, we will go to the fields of western Iowa to see how artichokes are cultivated and harvested. June to August is usually a good time to start the process of growing artichokes in the fields of Iowa. According to USDA statistics, in 2021, there are 5 active artichoke farms in Iowa, and the area of artichoke cultivation in this state is about 27 acres, accounting for 1% of the area planted with this plant in the country. Currently, most artichoke varieties grown in the United States require about 160 to 180 days to be eligible for harvest. This is what happens in the artichoke fields in Iowa when the harvest season begins. Dozens of migrant workers will cut down the artichoke buds and deliver them to the site for packaging. According to statistics, in 2021, the production of artichokes in Iowa is about 189,000 pounds. Meanwhile, the production of artichokes harvested in the state of California amounted to 87 million pounds, accounting for 96% of the national production. At some farms, thousands of artichoke buds, after being harvested, will be packed right in the field before being shipped to farmers' markets. In addition, a large amount of artichokes will also be sent to factories to be processed into other products, such as beverages or pharmaceuticals. When it comes to Iowa agriculture, we can't help but mention the vast cornfields, because this is considered a symbol of the agricultural industry in this state. For about 20 years, Iowa has always been the leading state in the country in corn production. According to statistics, in 2021, up to 13.3 million acres of farmland in Iowa is used to grow corn, and the harvest in this state is about 2.4 billion bushels, accounting for 16% of the national production. Not only famous for its vast cornfields, Iowa is always mentioned when we talk about soybean production in the United States. Currently, 10 million acres of farmland is used to grow soybeans in the state, and the soybean yield in Iowa is 631 million bushels, or 14% of the national production. In recent years, agricultural land in Iowa has always accounted for 85 to 87% of the state's area, and the state is second only to Nebraska in the percentage of land used for agricultural production.